Cape Town in the early 1990s was in the grip of a war between the taxis of Cape Town in the local communities and the Golden Arrow bus service over public transport routes from the townships into the city of Cape Town. The Independent Mediation Services of South Africa at the time was called in to broker a peace accord between the factioning parties, and our goal was really to try and stop bus drivers being pulled from their seats and necklaced with burning tires, drivers of the taxis being shot at, and their houses torched in the townships of Cape Town. On the day of the process, 30 of these drivers arrived at the City of Cape Town council chambers, and two of the tiniest, smallest security guards had been tasked with the job of collecting their guns at the door. But on sight of these huge blokes with their automatic and semi-automatic rifles, these blokes just shrank back in fear, and of course the guns stayed. So we were, as a team of mediators, standing in this horseshoe of a table in the council chambers, hearing the click, click, click of the safety catches going off on these guns underneath the table, knowing full well that they were pointed at various targets around the table, and we were a bit thrown from our stride as to how to open this process. So a lecture on non-violence wouldn't have gone down too well. So we did the only thing we could think of doing, and that was ask them a single question. What brought you to the table today? What are you feeling right now? And each individual person stood up and told a very similar story. Every morning when we wake up and we kiss our family members goodbye, we don't know if we'll see them alive again at the end of the day, ever. And it was at that point that I realized that from a single truth, from a single commonality, raised up in discussion across a table, when people are expressing themselves with vulnerability, that can build a little pathway, a commonality in truth to navigate towards a solution. Even though these people were there for vengeance, to shoot each other. So we were actually able to negotiate the longest standing ceasefire of the taxi wars in Cape Town at that time. Since then, I have worked across Australia and South Africa in many boardrooms with essentially dysfunctional teams, where the focus is on how important I am, how competitive I am, how special I am. We work in silos rather than in collaborative teams, and even our political leaders right the way around the world are focused on self-interest rather than on global issues which they should be looking for solutions for. I left my corporate job in 2011 feeling less safe with the number of knives that were in the backs of the executives around the table than I had felt 20 years before with all those guns. I wrote a book called Brave Truth, and now I have the privilege and the joy of working with teams across the country, helping them to become vulnerable, helping them to disclose their truth, helping them to be comfortable with that vulnerability, and through that, building trust, a basis for trust. That allows those teams to reconnect with one another. In fact, I've seen teams recontract with one another in truth and trust, and they build solutions for their organizations, which are then eminently more implementable across those organizations because they're seen as genuine leaders. The Harvard Business Reviews recently reported on what they call deliberately developmental organizations, or DDOs for short, who rate vulnerability and trust as their competitive edge. So my message is as simple as this. A relentless pursuit of the truth will put you in a place which will allow you to become an arbiter who will be seen as a fair arbiter of decisions, and those decisions will be eminently more implementable in a more highly successful way across the organisation. Thank you very much.